Hi everyone, I'm Iman. I'll be performing some poetry in English. I hope you guys don't mind. I have three poems for you today. I've never really performed in front of this larger crowd that wasn't in my college, so I hope you bear with me. The first one is untitled. This is not a love poem. Loving is an act of God, and I am the worst of sinners. I have never loved something quite as holy as this. I have never loved quite as holy as this. I am in over my head, so I will say I like you. I will say I like you. I will say I adore you as the breeze adores the birds and the birds adore the trees and the homes they make of them. One day you'll be talking about home and I will think, I want to be yours. And I will make space in my heart for your home. I'm already bringing out the dynamite and clearing out the debris. An act of love is an act of God. I act out a scene when I cook myself a meal. I swallow it down and it tastes of stardust. It tastes of something holy. Holiness is meant to be swallowed. And so I eat my feelings like I eat my words, and they sit corked in my belly like a bottle of wine labeled the spirit of love. My mother tells me religion is simply a way of living. I think mine is the way your hair flattens under a baseball cap, or the way your neck cracking sounds like the rain on my window when I was 8 and untethered, or how when I look in your eyes I see the past and futures of every civilization that ever wrote of romance. I will write sonnets to the altars of your shoulders. I will speak summer into your bones. Give me the canvas and I will paint odes into your skin, bright and warm and real, like an artist touching yellow for the first time. If love is a villanelle, then this is the parallel. There are no rules here other than the ones we make in secret. I will not check his horoscope. Instagram tells me you're a Siberian cat. I will not be moody. Did he just call her pretty? I'm particularly susceptible to feeling hurt when he says a pretty girl is like a firework, to be seen and not touched. When he calls me pretty for the first time, I hope that what he's saying is that I light up his world. He makes a joke at my expense and puts his arms around me. I giggle and he looks at me. He looks at me and I hope he's thinking. I will not tell her how her laugh sounds like a litany, and that it is holy. I hope he swallows me whole. I hope he thinks I'm holy. The second poem I have for you is called Two Poems About Boys Who Weren't the Point, a trilogy. Part 1. All this for a boy I never knew. Sit down next to me. Ask me about time. Ask me if, when it flies, I fall off its wings or hold on for dear life. Ask me if I've ever loved someone like words catching in my throat, like a piece of me has detached itself and is trying to crawl its way to you. Ask me if my love is blind or deaf or mute, and I will answer yes and no. My love won't scream from rooftops, but when I look at you, the world trembles beneath my feet just a little, like an earthquake conducting itself through the bones of everyone around us. I learned in fifth grade that people in colder places use electric heaters to keep themselves warm, and I know my metaphors are tired. But it seems the city cannot weave a winter cold enough to warm me with your smile when you ask me about summer and wonder, and I'll tell you how the sun, helpless in its envy, spills over and turns your hair to gold. Baby, are we gold? I think we could be golden. I think once in your life you meet someone whose love shows you why the others never worked out. Baby, I think if this ends, if you leave, if you take the sun with you, I'd cradle the weight of your love like a bruise. In the soft corners of my mind where your fingers find my wandering thoughts and bring them back to here, to you, where silences make space for our breaths and your lips on mine are the only truth I need. Now ask me again. Ask me about infinities, and I'll tell you about my neutron star poems, my drafts of celestial graveyard where love poems came to die. How this attempt started lifeless, lay half finished until you ask me about peace, and I'll tell you how my love, like this poem, has finally found its way to what I thought was home. Part 3, none of it was really about you. What I thought was peace, but really was just quiet. Do you hear that? That's the sound of my heart finally stuttering its way back to me. I cradle it in my palms, but I don't know what to do with it just yet. What does one do with something bitten and raw but throw it away? They say poetry is raw. They say writing a poem about someone must mean they meant something. But I think if you happened in my poems, you just happen to me, and there's no shame in that. No shame in my feelings always being so tightly wound that I need a pen and a paper to untangle the words. There's a bad habit that I picked up from my father. He used to say, finish your food. Someone somewhere is starving today. So I don't throw it away. Not the poems, not my feelings, not my raw, aching heart. Instead, I wrap it up to keep it safe, take a page out of a book that says, sometimes in your life, you meet someone who shows you where the wounds are still unhealed, that a heart may be mangled, but it's still worth saving. I never really learned how to throw things away. And maybe that's a good thing. Tell me, is someone somewhere starving today? The third poem I have for you is a little bit more political, but I feel like everything I write ends up being political anyways. It's called Smokescreen. Not everything has to be a metaphor. Put the cigarette in your mouth and give it the power to kill you. We all have to die eventually anyway, and I'd rather control the smoke than have it consume me, like the media I consume every day. This war, that law, icebergs melting in the north. But hey, at least I'm not a child in a war-torn country where the leaders are claiming to rewrite history. History will remember us by those who burned in our indifference while we debated the political convenience of their deaths. Blood and oil mix easy, and both keep the machinery of empire running smoothly. Across continents where children learn the sounds of wars, war drones, and warships before they learn their mother's lullabies. And if I'm to die of a cancer, I'd rather it be made of my body than a billion others. They call it democracy. I call it selling our votes to the highest bidders, who brainwash us through screens into hating each other so they can pillage our countries and our sanities, get us to line the pockets with profits of those who wined and dined and signed bombs that millions would never survive. And by that time we turn, smell the smoke, count the bodies in their piles, the billionaires have left in the rockets that they built with our lives. So put the cigarette in your mouth, love, set it alight. Let the weight settle in your lungs, breathe into the night. We pay to be killed, slowly but surely, consumed by the consumerism that controls our minds. But hey, at least this way, you'll feel a little bit alive. Thank you.